Welcome to Nerds in Dark. I'm Mikey.
Juanito.
And we are here to review Marvel's Avengers Infinity War Part 1 of 2, The Experience / the movie, subtitle in a subtitle, in a movie, in another subtitle.
Oh,
yeah.
Together.
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff. Overall, I dug it. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Yep, I thought it was great. Not as amazing, but nitpicks.
Only saying great, not amazing.
Great.
I am hoping for a complete flame war in the comments. Crucify him, please. This movie is probably the best superhero movie I've ever seen. And might be one of my favorite movies in the last decade. And this is from a man who, I kind of like everything. I don't know if you guys have noticed, it's like a trend. Like, there's nothing below a 6. I like everything. But this is amazing. And I think it's going to be the Empire Strikes Back of our generation. But I can go into that later.
I love comic books. This is a crossover come to life. Yes.
Yeah.
But the stuff that once I had time to mull it over bothered me. And that's where the great comes into play.
Okay. So, plot. What happens in this movie?
Stuff.
A lot of things.
A lot of things.
Picking up where Thor Ragnarok left off, Thanos arrives at the Asgardian ship, and they waste no time. All of the Asgardians are already dead. Thor and Loki are captured, and they have beaten everyone. They're asking where the Tesseract is. Hulk comes in out of nowhere, which is one of the things that doesn't make sense. I'll talk about later.
Well, he's there in the ship.
No, yes, he is, but I just don't want to waste time on the plot part. We'll talk about it in the problem section. They fight. Hulk loses badly. He gets throat punched. Heimdall uses the Bifrost to send Hulk away before Thanos kills him. Loki dies, and Thanos explodes the ship. Flash forward to Earth. Hulk arrives at Doctor Strange's, says Thanos is coming, explains the Infinity Stones. They go get Tony. Tony arrives. Then Squidward comes down and says, "Give me the Infinity Stone," and they say no. They fight. Spidey gets involved. Hulk won't Hulk. Banner is trying to get Hulk to come out. Iron Man says, "You're embarrassing me in front of the wizards." Doctor Strange gets captured. They fly away with Tony Stark and Spider-Man stowing away on the ship. Flash forward, you end up with Guardians of the Galaxy going to the distress call from the Asgardian ship. They pick up Thor, who is surprisingly alive. They go on 2 separate adventures. Thor looking for a new weapon, and it's Thor, Rocket, and Groot looking for the new weapon, along with Peter, Gamora, Mantis, and Drax going after the Reality Stone. And then on Earth, the remaining heroes, Hulk and what's left of both sides of the Avengers, go to protect the last Infinity Stone, the Mind Stone, which is on Vision's forehead. Suffice to say that everyone fails at every point. Thanos ends up with all of the stones. He gets a Soul Stone by surprisingly running into Red Skull, who tells him that he has to kill something he loves in order to get the Soul Stone. Gamora laughs at him and says, "You love nothing." He sheds a tear because he loves Gamora, kills Gamora, gets the Soul Stone, arrives on Titan, where he fights Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Peter Quill, Mantis, and Drax, who fight to keep him from closing his fist. Very good, very nice looking fight. he wins, gets the time stone, goes back to Earth, where he retrieves the Mind Stone from Vision, killing him in the process. Thor goes to kill him, delivering what he believes to be a final blow. Thanos coughs a bit and says, "You should have gone for the head," snaps his fingers, half the universe dies. Credits.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah. Plot overall was actually kind of solid for a movie that's about a MacGuffin, which we can go into later. But I did overall enjoy it. It was something that makes sense, and for me, this has always been the dream. I read comics as a kid in the 90s because I was like knee high to a duck in the 90s.
I've been
You're
reading for
You're like 47 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Got another birthday.
yeah, he's been reading a lot longer than I have, but like for me, grew up in the 90s when Infinity War happened. To me, this is like the dream. Thanos was always one of my favorite characters. When we start having movies, Marvel movies with crossovers 10 years ago, the dream is like, yo, can they do Infinity War? But like, can they do Infinity War? And like, that's the dream, the pipe dream you have when you're like, wait, Hulk and Iron Man are going to be in the same movie? Wait a minute. Hulk, Iron Man, and Captain America are going to be in the same movie? And it starts going from there, and you're like, this might happen. 10 years later, it fucking happens. So there's a lot of hype for this. And overall, they did a solid point on it. I do have a problem that he wasn't looking to please Death.
No, I personally enjoyed that part.
You enjoyed that it wasn't Death?
Yeah, because that would not have gone with...
I don't think that they could have done it well with Death.
They couldn't have done it.
But if they've done it of like trying to...
No, would not have worked.
I think they could have done a way to do it.
I'm pretty sure they spent a good couple of months trying to make it work, and they realized no one's gonna get
I mean,
this.
I don't have a problem with the plot.
Yeah.
I would have preferred to see Death.
Nobody
because
would've
that's
got
what
it.
it is.
That
I mean that like
nobody
no, I get it. I get their reasoning behind the decision. I just would have preferred Death.
I would not. I love Infinity War. Would not have wanted Death. Would have walked out.
Agree to disagree.
I would have been like, I'm out.
Agree to disagree.
This is the stupidest thing, and I read comics for a living. Like, no, I'm out.
All right. Presentation.
Amazing. I mean, everyone looked great. Everyone acted just as good, even better than expected.
Yeah.
When they put certain characters together, you didn't think it would mesh, and they meshed amazing.
They did really well with a lot of the characters and all the ways that they made them fight. Peter Quill jumping on platforms made by Doctor Strange as he's making them was dope. Spider-Man using portals made by Doctor Strange and screaming magic as he's coming in and punching Thanos from behind was amazing. But Falcon and War Machine fighting together, that was amazing.
Well, Rocket with Thor.
Yes.
Those scenes with Rocket and Thor.
Oh my god.
They work.
Yeah, it
They're
was
not
really
supposed to, because these two people have nothing in common.
Nothing in common, had never met, and they were really good together. Actually, when Rocket met up with Bucky, I really like that.
The humor parts are they're spot on.
And they're like, ah!
Yeah.
It was great. It was overall presentation for me was like a 9 out of 10. I really, really enjoyed watching everything there. There was a few CGI issues that I noticed. You said you didn't notice them when you watched it.
Yeah.
So there's a spot where they're having a standoff. And it's in Wakanda when they're waiting for the wall to go down. Black Panther walks in front of his line, and there's this weird issue going on with his gloves where it looks like they're just kind of like jumping around a bit, like he's doing jazz hands like down below, and it looked really weird. And then there's the final scene where Banner in the Hulkbuster armor, War Machine, and Thor are standing behind Cap and Black Widow as they're on the floor, and they just looked really out of place. Like the CGI looked a little off. That part I can say, maybe it was my theater, but but definitely the weird jazz hands from Black Panther was something I noticed as an issue. But overall, the rest of the movie was like fantastic. So like 9 out of 10 there. Problems.
Not problems. The longer I think about the movie, the more I realize there was parts where they were too long. Even cutting at first when we heard the 7 minutes were being cutting out because they wanted to hit it under 2.5. I'm like, oh man, I wish I had back to 7 minutes. There's certain occasions where it just drags. Thor getting his hammer. Thor getting his new Stormbreaker.
Sure.
Didn't need all of that. Didn't need Peter getting to the spaceship.
Yeah.
Didn't need unless there were jokes in there, which were great.
Yeah.
Loki saying we have a Hulk and Hulk comes out.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Jokes.
That was great.
A lot of that stuff did not need. Trying to get Banner getting caught up was not needed. I guess for the audience it might have been needed.
What do you mean?
Every time they kept catching him up on stuff since he was away.
I actually like that. I thought it was really good. I thought it was like, so that was something that I thought was very much needed. I don't think like the audience didn't need it. No one watching this movie needed it, but Banner needed it. And I think that not having it in there and just having him be okay with the Avengers like tripling in size while he was gone and just being like, oh yeah, cool, those are new people, it's fine. And there's a Spider-Man and an Ant-Man and like, you know, whatever. It's like, because they're all weird. Like these new people are weird. Like,
yeah, I get it. One time, I was okay.
I'm like Scarlet Witch was an enemy when he left.
No, he left when it was in Avengers 2, where they were in Sokovia. They had just kissed, and then he turned into a Hulk, and then he ran away. They were not enemies. No, they had kissed.
Scarlet Witch.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Scarlet Witch.
Not Scarlet
because
Witch.
they changed forces at the end of the battle. Like the mid battle, they changed forces. You know, and it's just like, yeah,
No, they were already here. They were already helping.
Yeah, but like, in his thing is like it's a shaky thing because like they caused problems, and you know people were hurt. To Banner, that's a problem. You got to catch him up, and that like, oh, okay, it's not really a bad guy. Scott Lang was in prison.
He doesn't know that.
He doesn't know that, but he's just like, okay, well, you know, who is this guy?
Yeah.
It's stuff that makes sense to catch people up on.
Like I said, one time it was fine. 3 or 4 times I was in the movie.
I don't know. I think it was needed. Where I had an issue, one of the spots I had issue with was not Thor's hammer area. I think the conversation dragged down a lot between Gamora and Quill, where she's asking him to kill her. I think Thanos toying with him to kill her, like those scenes dragged down long. I think that I agree that parts of Thor's hammer took too long. I believe the conversation that Rocket had with him on the ship on the way there was important, because one of the things we get at the end of Ragnarok is that he gets this like realization of power from within, but not necessarily that it's within him. The reason he was having issues with his power was that he's facing a sense of doubt in himself after his dad dies, and a sense of loss.
And he overcomes that at the end of the movie.
And he overcomes that.
So why do we need to relive it again?
Well, he overcomes that with rekindling of faith in his brother and saving the Asgardians. Saying, you know, it's okay that we lost our home, because home for like Asgardians' home is where the Asgardians are. And then they escape, and all of the Asgardians, all of his friends and his brother are all murdered. And I think that having a conversation where he just suddenly like he has that realization that there's no one left, that can explain why he's not performing at his best, and that he may again need a weapon to be at his best.
I have no problem with the speech. As I said, when they combined together, when they put Rocket and Thor, that was a great pairing, and they had really good moments.
Yeah, they did.
The moment he gets to that place to get his weapon,
it does take a little long to get the weapon.
Totally not needed.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah, I can agree with you there.
It also messes up Thanos' mentality, because Thanos so far, I mean, without us not knowing Nova Corps future or their presence or what happened with them, he so far has only been killing half of the population. So he goes and kills all the giant dwarves, except for one.
Yeah.
So he decides to change it up all of a sudden and then go back to it. It was never needed. None of that stuff was needed. You could have showed him going, and then you could have showed him appearing right at Earth, and that's it.
I mean, sure. I mean, there's definitely parts that they could have cut out. I think one of the other issues I had. First of all, way too many people died. Way too many. Like, I mean, well, in the context that he achieves his dream and like half of the universe dies, again, not too many people dead, but like you go into this movie, and slightly before me going into the movie, a few days before, you had mentioned to me that it was a part 1 of 2 and that there would be some form of cliffhanger. I did not know that. I don't watch trailers going in, and it starts hitting me that there's going to be these kind of things that might happen. I was thinking 2 to 4 people die. I knew for sure Vision has to die in order for Thanos to get the Mind Stone.
Yeah.
And, I'm thinking Cap or Tony Stark die, and like a B character, like maybe Falcon or something. But then you end up with like, man, everybody. I mean, just to, let's pour one out, for all of the people that we lost. We can read them off here. Scarlet Witch, Drax, Gamora, Spider-Man, Vision, Bucky, Nick Fury, Maria Hill, Falcon, Black Panther, Mantis, Groot, Doctor Strange, possibly all the Nova Corps, and everyone on the Asgardian ship on Thor, everyone on Nowhere. Pour one out for my homies.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. But
which,
yeah, we knew. Once we knew the movie started with him already
having defeated the Nova Corps and defeated Thor and all of the Asgardians.
Yeah.
It also was it was extremely painful for me to watch Peter Parker die. I didn't want him to go. I didn't want him to go. And like it hurts. It hurt, like, because Tom Holland is great. Spider-Man Homecoming is a great movie, and it's the movie that Spider-Man fans deserve. And it's like, we're still fresh. He's still fresh in my mind, and he dies. And it's like, ugh. And then Black Panther dies? What? It's just because he did so well. Only because he did so well.
No, it was all the secondary characters that died. There's a reason they all died. They're all the secondary characters. They're all the characters that came after the initial phase 1.
Yeah, and it's stupid. You know what else bothers me? I'm ranting now. You know what else bothers me? Prior to the movie's release, Russo brothers start talking about how they have a diverse cast and so many women, and they mentioned Miss Marvel being in the fucking movie. You know how much she's in the fucking movie? 0 frames is she in the movie. There's a pager at the end of the credits that just displays her fucking symbol. That's how much she's in the fucking movie.
I knew she was going to be in the movie. We know for sure she's.
But that's a problem when Russo brothers say she's in Infinity War.
It could Infinity War Part 2. That's still Infinity War.
If that's what they're calling it. Right now it's Avengers 4, name to be determined. Currently untitled Avengers 4 movie. Fucking bullshit. The things I loved about this movie. I love that this is what seems to be an almost culmination of Tony Stark's journey, because at the beginning of this movie we have him talking with Potts about having children, and this is like the guy who we met 10 years ago as like a playboy billionaire who didn't care about shit, and like now he's with Pepper, and he's talking about children, and then he's got his adopted kid, you know, like Peter, and like when he knights him, and he's just like, congratulations, you're an Avenger, and then you see like Tom Holland just like it was great. The chemistry between so many of these characters. When Tony Stark kind of turns to Banner, when he can't turn into the Hulk, and he's like, "You're embarrassing me in front of the wizards."
They had good lines.
And it was a lot of great lines.
I don't agree it being Tony's movie. It's a Thanos movie.
Well, I think like it is a movie about him, but I think that so far the MCU has been very centralized to Tony Stark.
Yeah, but you're trying to make it like he was like a womanizer for the majority of his cinematic. He was a womanizer for half of the first movie.
No.
And then he started caring about pots, and then
he
it
was a
stopped being
womanizer
like
for the first movie and half the second.
No, not the second.
Like, I'm
Nope.
pretty sure.
That's when he started already talking. Like he was joking with Pepper about Scarlett Johansson about Black Widow, but for the most part,
Like, they
he's
weren't
still,
together though.
They were.
He wasn't with Pepper.
Yeah, he
And
was.
They had a lot of like teasing things,
Yeah,
and they don't
that's
kiss
what I'm
till the end of the movie.
Yeah,
And then like in Avengers 3, I mean not in Iron Man 3, they don't even like they're not even like copacetic.
well, that's behind the scenes type of.
Yeah, whatever. And then like she was in Avengers, and like it was cool, and then like Avengers Age of Ultron, she's like missing. There's like not gone, but it's just like, oh yeah, we're kind of taking a break kind of thing. And it was just like, it was fucking weird. You don't know where the fuck they are, but like now they're like a thing.
But I'm saying back to being a Thanos movie, because going back to the death thing, that if it was him chasing after death, it would not have worked the way it worked here.
I mean, no, I definitely think that like the movie in its current context would not have worked with a death storyline.
Yeah.
I just as a personal preference and a fan of Thanos, I would have liked to have seen some kind of way for it to play out. Now, predictions moving forward. I mean, we all, like, everybody who's been paying attention knows that the time stone is their win button. So, what do you think will happen as a result of using that combined with the reality stone?
The reality stone is not what I think is going to affect things. The main question is whoever takes hold of the gauntlet once they take it out of Thanos, which a combined effort with Captain Marvel, with other characters we have not seen that may come back, that
Sure.
that could easily be introduced now.
Yeah,
Problem is,
we can introduce anybody
yeah.
right now.
Problem is, if whoever yields the gauntlet has to deal with yielding the soul, the soul gem, which means a soul for a soul. They put an emphasis on the movie.
They did.
In this movie, not just for
What about
his story, but for the next story.
now? What about Adam Warlock? So first of all, they've been teasing Adam Warlock for a long time, since Guardians of the Galaxy first one.
That was not a tease, but I understand. There's an egg, and people were like, "Hey, that egg's Adam Warlock," and then James Gunn's like, "Sure,
Yeah. Oh, he's just like, yeah, okay, fine.
sure."
I mean, so whatever. You can say it wasn't a tease, but he says yes, so we'll call it a tease. And so all this time, I mean, they officially point out Adam Warlock and they call him Adam.
And yeah,
So-
I don't think he's gonna be a big presence in the second one.
Sure.
I really do think Captain Marvel
You think she's
will
gonna be the hero? I mean,
will be the hero.
I just think they need another heavy hitter. They killed all the heavy hitters in this movie.
Yeah, but
Like, because I don't count Tony or War Machine as heavy hitters because they're basically like military grade stuff. Tony's stronger.
Tony's only limited by his imagination. Now he has a reason, which is why, talking about predictions,
Yeah.
I think Tony will be the one who would
wield it.
the Infinity Gauntlet.
Honestly, I'm really upset that Spider-Man died because one of my favorite parts of Infinity War is when Spider-Man had the gauntlet. Like, for just a brief moment, Spider-Man is the most powerful being in the universe.
Well, and also when he was,
When he had the power cosmic.
yeah,
Or when he was, what was it, the Captain Universe Spider-Man?
yep.
Any of those times that Spider-Man was the most powerful
Or
being
when
in the
Doc
universe.
Ock was Spider-Man, amazing,
Amazing?
yeah,
You sure?
spectacular. I don't know what.
Geez, what did he call it? It wasn't spectacular. Superior Spider-Man. Superior Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, any of those times that Spider-Man was just amazing. Oh, God, I fucking love Spider-Man.
What was your prediction?
So, my prediction is that Tony lives to... Well, Tony obviously lives. Tony lives to bring about what is the one-win scenario. And he's necessary for that part to happen. But I believe that Doctor Strange apologizing to him isn't because everyone died around him. I believe Doctor Strange apologized to him for either, one, what he must do in order for everyone else to live, or B, that Tony Stark dies for everyone else to live. Because at this point, Strange is gone. He doesn't have... I mean, he's not going to be able to say sorry to Tony once Tony's gone. And I think that this is going to be like that's what it is that Tony dies. I believe Tony, at the end of this, Tony Stark and Cap will die. Vision might stay dead, might not. I believe Captain Marvel is going to be a big part of the movie. Obviously, she's going to be a big part of the movie. Ant-Man and Wasp are going to be in it. I don't know how big of a role they're going to have. But, you know, they'll probably have some small roles to play.
Speaking of heavy hitters,
Tiny roles.
I mean, Ant-Man,
tiny people.
Giant Man.
Yeah, no, I mean, he could... I don't know if I'll count that as a heavy hitter. But, sure, whatever. You know why I don't like it? I'm gonna rant again. It breaks its own fucking rules, right? Because, like, the whole thing with the Pym particles is, like, you can shrink or grow and things retain the same mass, right? So it's like, that's why he can be small and also punch things. But, like, when he becomes small, if he retains the same mass, then he can't ride on a fucking ant. But, like, at the same thing, if he retains the same mass and gets really big, then his bones would fucking break under his own, like, fucking weight. But also, he wouldn't be able to punch things being a giant and have any kind of, like, weight behind them. Because it'd be like, yeah, it's a fucking giant thing with the mass equivalent of a fucking feather. It doesn't make sense.
I like comics. I don't have to make sense.
No, I get it. I fucking get it. And I love to watch it. But, like, when you think about it later, and the problem is that, like, it doesn't have to be bad. It's just that, like they make these rules as they're going. And when you create these rules, like, you could just say, like, it's fucking Pym particles. It does things. Like, and people would accept it because it's a fucking movie. You don't have to look deep into it. But when you start to explain the science in a stupid way that you're gonna break later, then it doesn't make sense to do that.
Okay, I'm trying to remember if they do say that in the movie.
That, like, it shrinks the space between atoms, yeah. And that things, like, it only shrinks the space between atoms so you retain the same mass.
Okay.
They specifically say that in the movie. But it's like, if he was, like, because basically what it would be is that, like, either, you know, he would be like, you know, he'd be like this tall and still weigh 150 pounds. And that's why it doesn't make sense that, like, later he, like, you know, he has a tank on his keychain, but it'll be like, that's several tons. I mean, I don't know how much a tank weighs, but it's probably like, what, 20, 40 tons for the fucking tank that he pulls? Yeah. And then he's got a whole thing where he shrinks the whole building in the trailer for the second movie, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, that doesn't make sense according to the rules that you established. Don't establish these rules. All you have to do is be like, yeah, science. I'd be like, oh, dope.
Yeah.
Like, I believe it. Science. That works. I've ranted like really long into what was supposed to be a 10-minute review. But what I do hope for the future is that they do bring new people in. I really hope that they use this as an opportunity to later be able to retcon the universe in different ways, like bringing about Fantastic Four and bringing about X-Men. We do already know that Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, I don't remember what they're calling. Are they calling it Captain Marvel?
No, it's, yeah, Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel will take place during the Kree-Skrull War.
So it takes place in the 90s.
Yes.
Yeah.
During the Kree-Skrull War, which means that we are getting another alien race from the Fantastic Four universe, which also means all sorts of dope things, because if we have Skrulls in the universe, then we can possibly have Secret Invasion in the future, which is something I really love. I mean, I think it would be dope.
It would be. I don't want people getting their hopes up on the Fox on the Fox merger, because that's getting pushed back more and more.
I mean, it's gonna be pushed back for a while. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys know like how much goes into a merger. I don't know everything that goes into a merger, but when it comes to big companies like this, I mean, there's 6 giant production companies, and when one of them buys the other, it becomes an issue, because there's like monopoly issues, and all sorts of people look into this to make sure that nobody's getting screwed. But in the meantime, I guess fans can get screwed, because fuck fans.
No, fans are getting what they want. You just have to be patient.
Wolverine is my Disney princess, and you can't tell me otherwise. Wolverine and Deadpool are both Disney princesses.
And you will get Deadpool and Wolverine in 2020, 2021, or 2022.
That's what I want to happen. I want
but
Deadpool in a tiara. So, going back a little bit, I wanted to talk about the Thanos MacGuffin. This is one of my issues with the movie. The Thanos MacGuffin is something that I view as a little bit of a problem. In his reasoning is just to destroy half the universe because he like overpopulation. It's a stupid reason. It makes sense within the context of the movie, but like
it makes sense in the concept of real life.
Yeah, no, it makes sense in the context of the movie. Hold on. So the Infinity Stones, each themselves, are a MacGuffin that a villain wants for reasons that make sense within the context of the movie, but ultimately they're just kind of stupid. Thor: Dark World, some weird elf guy wants the Reality Stone to do things because reasons. You have Guardians of the Galaxy is the guy going after the MacGuffin to fight the universe because they're evil. Like, he believes people are impure. He's got reasons. And it's just like, hey, I'm going to find this stone, become more powerful. It's a MacGuffin search through a lot of the movies. Red Skull as well in Captain America. He searches for that. He finds it really early, but it's basically a MacGuffin that makes them more powerful. It's just a random object that they need to become more powerful to get their goals done, which are just weird goals that have nothing really to do with the object that they're looking for. And Thanos is basically after the ultimate MacGuffin, which is a collection of the MacGuffins from the previous movies, because he wants to be powerful enough to destroy the whole universe, because he has his reasons that he'll explain in the movie. While his reasons do make sense within the context of the movie, it's still a MacGuffin search.
This is where we differ, because I feel that it doesn't matter what the stones are, because all he was trying to do is prove people right. Prove to everyone that he was right.
Yeah.
Because based on the story you're getting, he was right. And based on the story with Gamora, he was right.
Sure.
And so he's like, hey, I was right. They didn't listen. My world went to shit. I was right. I made it happen. Look at it now. I'm right. I need to take care of this. This is a problem I want to take care of. And then I want to just relax and enjoy this new world.
For sure. But that brings me to another issue. Thanos looking off in the sunset and everyone else like being really depressed. That to me is a real undersell of Thanos and the Infinity Stone's power.
But he said that's what he was gonna do.
No.
I mean,
not him doing it.
He kicked doors, took names, and said, "Hey, when I'm done, this is what I'm gonna do." And he did it. And finished it, and he sat down.
I absolutely agree with you. So the reason that the Infinity Stones are so powerful altogether is that you have the Mind Stone, the Reality Stone, and the Time Stone. With the three of those together, I mean, the other stones are great, but fuck them. These three stones together mean that you can erase everyone from existence, make it so that there's not a space where those people were, and with a Mind Stone, they never existed. That's what makes Thanos so powerful, is that when he erases the universe, you don't know he did it, and you're happy. Everyone being sad at the end is an undersell of what you can do with the Infinity Gauntlet.
But then they wouldn't remember him.
Yeah, that's what makes it powerful.
Who would want to... If I had the stones and I was Thanos, I'm going to make sure everybody remembers me.
And that's where it's a problem. Like,
no,
he's not like... So Thanos is an overconfident person who loves to win and loves to have people know that he wins. However, like, the true win would be to have everyone, like, to have defeated everyone and have no one know. There was a great comic that came out in the 90s with Spider-Man. It was a one-shot, and it was one of my favorites. Thanos decides to torment Spider-Man and basically uses his power to go and pull Spider-Man into a fake kind of world and teases him about different things, and they fight. And basically, Spider-Man puts up as good of a fight as he can, but Thanos just beats the shit out of him just horribly. And because of the power that Thanos has, he knows that he's won and has completely broken Spider-Man, but Spider-Man ends up no worse off for wear because it's almost as if it didn't happen at the end of it. And it's just one of those things where it's Thanos' own power trip and Spider-Man doesn't have to know it happened. And he just knows he's better.
Yeah, that's not the Thanos we have here.
I know, and that's like, it's just...
And that's not the Thanos that I want. I want this Thanos. This Thanos that we got is perfect.
This one that's human.
The one that human. The one that you
identify with this Thanos. That's like, it's where it's so different. I'm just like, okay.
This is the same thing with in Black Panther. The reason you like Killmongers because you relate. You relate.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, they did a wonderful job of character building and making us feel sorry that he killed Gamora, and I didn't feel sorry for Gamora. I felt sorry for Thanos.
Yeah.
Fuck Thanos. Fuck Gamora. Fuck all of them.
In a long
I rate this movie a 9.5 out of 10.
I give it a 9.
It's fucking amazing. It's a great movie, and the only shit that we're talking here is just because we're fanboys. We're fanboys. This movie's amazing. You should watch it. You should take your kids to watch it, unless you don't like them crying or being upset. I did hear a kid coming out of this that said, "But heroes are supposed to win." Oh, it was great. I think that a lot of people left that movie really triggered. That they were just like, "Please don't talk to me. Don't touch me. I am not ready." I kind of felt that way leaving. It got really dark really fast. But it's still, oh my god, I love this movie. I loved everything in it. Great movie.
I said great movie. I give it a 9. 9.
You heard it here. 9?
9.
9.5. That's our rating. See you next time on Nerds in the Dark.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Hey, this is the end slate. This is the part where I'm supposed to ask you to subscribe, but instead I'm just going to let you watch some videos because I'm not the boss of you. See if you like us, see what happens, who knows.
I'm going to the next spot. I'm going whether you like it or not. I'm traveling.
I'm not done looting. I'm not done.
You're done. You're done.
Damn you.
You're done.
Whatever. Kick all these motherfuckers' asses. Can I ride on this shit?
I want Yoshi. Ah,
Oh fuck.
motherfucker took my Yoshi.